The large meeting room fell silent as Ambassador Kang Tai-il walked in. He was the only human in a room full of aliens. At 5 feet 10 inches tall, he was smaller than most of the other beings there. His black suit was perfectly clean and fit him well. His black hair was neatly cut and his face showed no emotion. Tai-il bowed slightly to the room and took his seat at the large round table. The earth chair was the newest and plainest one there. "The human is late again," said a deep voice from across the table. Tai-il checked his watch. "I am exactly on time, High Commander Vox. The meeting starts at 9 WAR and it is now 8:59. The being who had spoken stood up. Vox was nearly 8 feet tall with metallic silver skin that gleamed under the lights. He had 4 muscular arms and sharp teeth that showed when he spoke. The Marvacs were known as the best warriors in the galaxy. "Humans have no respect for the Council," Vox said. "They think being on time means coming at the last second." Tai-il simply nodded. "I will come earlier next time." His calm answer seemed to make Vox angrier. The Marvacs wanted a fight, but Tai-il would not give him one. The head of the council, a tall blue being named Elda, raised her hand. "Let us begin the 347th meeting of the Galactic Council." The council had 47 different alien races. Humans were the newest members, joining only 6 months ago. Most of the older members looked down on humans. They thought Earth was too young and weak to be part of their group. What none of them knew was that Kang Tai-il was not really a diplomat. His real title was Colonel Kang of the Korean Special Forces Ghost Division. On Earth, his enemies had called him Death because of how deadly he was in battle. Now he wore a suit instead of body armor, but he was still the same man. As the aliens talked about trade deals and space territory, Tai-il listened carefully. His real job was to learn about these aliens, their strengths, their weaknesses, and which ones might threaten Earth in the future. "We will now hear Earth's request," Elda said after 2 hours. Tai-il stood up. "Thank you. Earth asks for the technology sharing rights that all council members receive. We have been part of the council for 6 months now, and we believe it is time." A low murmur went through the room. The aliens did not want to share their advanced science with humans. Vox laughed loudly. "Humans want our weapons, our ship designs, and our energy systems. What will they give us in return? They barely know how to travel between stars." Tai-il stayed calm. "We offer our medical research and agricultural methods. These are areas where humans excel." Another alien, a thin green being with 6 eyes, spoke up. "Your kind will use our technology to make weapons. We know how violent humans are. We seek knowledge to improve our world, not to make war," Tai-il said. His voice never rose, even as the insults continued. After much debate, Elda called for a vote. One by one, the members voted. When it was done, Earth's request was denied. The Marvacs had convinced enough members to vote against it. Tai-il bowed slightly. "We accept the Council's decision. We will ask again in 6 months." Vox seemed surprised by how easily Tai-il accepted defeat. The Marvacs expected anger or argument. "You see?" Vox said to the room. "Humans are weak. They do not even fight for what they want." Tai-il simply gathered his papers and left the room. As he walked back to his quarters, he noticed 2 Marvacs, warriors, watching him from the hallway. They were not the same ones who usually guarded the council chambers. These 2 had markings of special forces on their armor. His quarters were small but comfortable. The council station orbited a neutral planet at the center of the galaxy. Each member race had its own section. The human area was the smallest. With just Tai-il and his assistant, Park Jiho was waiting in Tai-il's office. He was younger than Tai-il, in his late 20s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "How did the vote go?" Jiho asked. "As expected," Tai-il replied. "They," said no, Jiho frowned. "General Kim won't be happy." Tai-il poured himself a cup of green tea. "The general knows this is a long game. We didn't expect them to say yes the first time." "The Marvacs are the main problem," Jiho said. "They hate us the most." Tai-il nodded. "High Commander Vox thinks humans are weak. This is useful." Useful how? When people think you are weak, they make mistakes, Tae-il said. He sipped his tea. What Ji-ho and General Kim back on Earth knew, but the aliens did not, was that Tae-il's body was not fully human anymore. After a near-death experience in his last battle, doctors had saved him with advanced cybernetic parts. His reflexes were 10 times faster than a normal human. His bones were reinforced with metal. His eyes could see in the dark and zoom in like cameras. His heart could pump at triple speed when needed. He was the perfect weapon disguised as a harmless diplomat. I saw 2 Marvax warriors watching me in the hall, Tae-il said. Not the regular guards. Ji-ho looked worried. Special forces? Yes, they might try something tonight. Should I alert station security? Tae-il shook his head. No, let's see what they do. After Ji-ho left, Tae-il checked the small hidden cameras he had placed around his quarters. Then he changed from his formal suit into a more comfortable one. The new suit looked the same but allowed for better movement. At dinner time, he ate alone in his quarters. He checked the security feeds on his tablet and saw the 2 Marvax warriors from earlier. They were now at the end of the human section, hallway pretending to patrol. Tae-il sent an encrypted message to General Kim. Possible situation developing. Will report outcome. The general's reply came quickly. Understood, Colonel. Remember your limits. The limits were Tae-il's orders not to kill unless absolutely necessary. Earth needed allies, not enemies. But the Council needed to learn that. Humans were not as weak as they thought. After dinner, Tae-il prepared for bed as normal. He knew the Marvax would be watching the regular security cameras. At exactly midnight, those cameras would have a malfunction that Ji-ho had arranged. The malfunction would last exactly 10 minutes, enough time for the Marvax to enter his room, enough time for them to learn their mistake. At 11:58 p.m., Tae-il sat at his small table, drinking his evening tea. His face showed no emotion, but inside, the soldier part of him was awake and ready. At midnight, the lights in the hallway flickered briefly. At 12:01 a.m., he heard heavy footsteps outside his door. At 12:02 a.m., his door burst open and 2 large Marvax warriors rushed in, weapons ready. Tae-il looked up from his teacup, his face calm. Good evening, he said politely. You should have knocked. The 2 Marvax warriors filled the doorway. Each was over 7 feet tall with metallic skin that gleamed in the dim light. All 4 of their arms held weapons, 2 with energy guns and 2 with shock batons. The weak human sits alone, the first Marvax said. His voice was deep and harsh. High Commander Vox sends his regards. Tae-il carefully placed his teacup on the table. I see. This is not an official visit then. The second Marvax laughed. It was an ugly sound, like metal, grinding on metal. The Council may accept your kind, but we know the truth. Humans are vermin. Tae-il stood slowly. His face showed no fear or anger. I must ask you to leave. I have an early meeting tomorrow. The Marvax looked at each other in surprise. They had expected the human to beg for mercy. The first warrior stepped forward. We will leave when we are done teaching you your place, he growled. He raised a shock baton that crackled with blue energy. Tae-il straightened his tie. The movement was small but precise. To the aliens, he looked like a helpless diplomat preparing to be beaten. They did not see what was happening inside him. Tae-il's cybernetic systems were now fully active. His heart rate increased, pumping more oxygen to his muscles. His vision sharpened. Time seemed to slow down, and his brain calculated 14 different ways to take down both warriors. Last chance, Tae-il said quietly. Leave now, and we can forget this happened. The first Marvax swung his shock baton at the human's head. It was a blow that could crack a normal human's skull, but Tae-il was no longer a normal human. He moved with impossible speed. One moment he was standing still, the next he was beside the Marvax, gripping the alien's wrist. With precise pressure, he squeezed exactly the right spot, a weakness in Marvax anatomy that few outside their species knew about. The shock baton fell from the warrior's suddenly numb hand. Tae-il caught it before it hit the floor. What? The Marvax began but never finished. Tae-il struck 3 times in less than a second, once at the neck, once at the shoulder joint, and once behind the knee. Each hit was precisely calculated to cause maximum pain with minimum permanent damage. The first Marvax fell to the ground, unable to move but still conscious. The second warrior was already firing his energy gun. The shots were wild and fast, burning holes in the walls and furniture. But Tae-il moved like water between the blasts, never where the shots landed. "Stand still, human," the Marvax shouted in frustration. Tae-il did not reply. Instead, he rolled across the floor, came up behind a chair and threw it at the alien's upper arms. As the Marvax blocked the chair, Tae-il closed the distance between them. He leaped higher than any normal human could, his reinforced legs giving him extra power. His fist connected with the Marvax's jaw with a metallic clang. The alien staggered back, shocked by the strength of the blow. "How?" the warrior began, but Tae-il gave him no time to speak. Moving with machine-like precision, the human diplomat struck a series of blows to key points on the Marvax's body. Each hit looked small, but hit exactly where the alien's armor was weakest and where the nerves were most sensitive. Within 10 seconds, the second warrior was on his knees. Tae-il took the energy gun from the alien's suddenly weak grip. "You are not a diplomat," the Marvax gasped, looking up at Tae-il with new understanding in his eyes. "I am whatever Earth needs me to be," Tae-il replied calmly. Then he struck once, more, and the warrior fell unconscious beside his partner. The whole fight had taken less than 30 seconds. Tae-il stood in the middle of his ruined quarters, his breathing steady, his suit slightly wrinkled but otherwise intact. He looked at his watch. The security camera malfunction would end in 5 minutes. He tapped his earpiece. "Jiho, please come to my quarters. Bring the medical kit and the cleaning team." "Yes, sir," came the immediate reply. "Are you hurt?" "No," Tae-il said, looking down at the unconscious aliens. "But we have guests who need attention." 4 minutes. Later, Jiho arrived with 2 other humans who worked as maintenance staff but were actually security personnel. They looked at the fallen Marvax warriors with wide eyes. "You took them both down?" one of the security men asked in disbelief. "They were careless," Tae-il said simply. He was already fixing his tie and straightening his cuffs. Jiho examined the unconscious aliens. "What do we do with them?" "Treat their injuries, then place them in the maintenance hallway near the Marvax section," Tae-il instructed. "Make it look like they got into a fight with each other. The Marvax value strength, they won't admit they were defeated by a human." As the team worked, Tae-il sat at his ruined desk and opened a secure channel to Earth. General Kim's face appeared on the screen. Her sharp eyes took in Tae-il's appearance and the activity behind him. "I see you had visitors," she said. "Yes, General. 2 Marvax warriors." "They have been handled." General Kim nodded. "Casualties?" "None. They will wake up with headaches and wounded pride." The general smiled slightly. "Did you learn anything useful?" Tae-il thought for a moment. "The Marvax are testing us. This was not a random attack. High Commander Vox sent them specifically. How do you want to proceed?" "I will meet with the Marvax ambassador tomorrow," Tae-il said. "A private meeting." General Kim raised an eyebrow. "Is that wise?" "It is necessary. The Council needs to understand that while humans prefer peace, we are not defenseless." The general nodded. "Very well, Colonel. Report after your meeting." After the call ended, Tae-il walked to the window of his quarters. The view showed the curve of the neutral planet below and the stars beyond. Somewhere out there was Earth still learning its place in a galaxy full of older, more advanced species. "Sir," Jiho said, approaching with a tablet, "I have the security footage from our hidden cameras." Tae-il took the tablet and watched the fight from 3 different angles. His movements were so fast they blurred on the screen. "Send a copy to the general," he instructed, "and prepare a meeting request for tomorrow morning with the Marvax ambassador. Mark it as private and urgent." "What will you tell him?" Jiho asked. Tae-il's face remained calm, but there was something in his eyes that hadn't been there before. A cold, deadly focus that reminded Jiho of who this man really was. "I will tell him the truth," Tai-il said, "that if they want war with humans, they should be prepared for what comes next." By morning, the Marvax warriors had been found in the maintenance hallway. The official report stated they had fought each other over some personal dispute. No one questioned it publicly. When Ambassador Kang Tai-il walked into the council chamber the next day, his suit was new, his face calm as always. But High Commander Vox watched him with new eyes, wondering why his warriors had failed to report back after their mission. The human diplomat caught Vox's gaze and gave him a small, polite nod. For the first time since humans joined the council, the mighty Marvax warrior looked away first. The Marvax ambassador's office was large and filled with weapons on display. The walls held battle axes, energy spears, and the skulls of enemies from long-ago wars. Ambassador Rock was older than Vox, with silver-gray skin that showed many battle scars. Tai-il sat across from him, a small datapad in his hands. Neither had spoken for almost a minute. "You requested this urgent meeting, Ambassador Kang," Rock finally said. "What is so important?" Tai-il placed the datapad on the desk between them. "I thought you might want to see this." He pressed a button, and a video began to play. It showed Tai-il's quarters from the night before. 2 Marvax warriors entered. Then, in a blur of movement that was almost too fast to follow, both warriors were defeated by the human diplomat. Rock's 4 hands gripped the edge of his desk as he watched. His yellow eyes widened. "Where did you get this?" he demanded when the video ended. "I have my own security measures," Tai-il said calmly. "High Commander Vox sent those warriors to attack me. This could cause a serious problem between our species." Rock leaned back in his chair. "Those warriors are fools. They acted without orders." "We both know that's not true," Tai-il said, his voice still quiet and polite. "But I am willing to keep this incident private. The recording will remain between us." The Marvax ambassador studied the human with new interest. "You could use this to embarrass us in front of the council. Why don't you?" "I have no desire to create enemies, Ambassador Rock. I came here to build relationships." "And yet you fight like a trained killer," Rock observed. Tai-il's face showed nothing. "Earth believes in being prepared. We send our best to represent us." "Not just a diplomat, then?" "I am whatever Earth needs me to be." Tai-il repeated the same words he had told the warrior the night before. Rock nodded slowly. "What do you want in exchange for your indiscretion?" "Reconsider your position on technology sharing with Earth. We are new to the galaxy, but we learn quickly. We can be valuable allies." The Marvax ambassador was quiet for a long moment. "I will speak with the High Commander. The Marvax respect strength, Ambassador Kang. You have shown yours." As Tai-il left the Marvax office, he noticed others watching him in the hallway. Word was beginning to spread. In the following days, something changed on the council station. Aliens who had ignored Tai-il now moved out of his way in the halls. Some nodded respectfully. Others watched him with new wariness. The 2 Marvax warriors were sent back to their home planet. The official story was that they had fought each other and were being punished for disturbing the peace. But rumors spread quickly on a space station. Jiho reported the change to Tai-il as they ate lunch in the human section. "They're saying a human defeated 2 Marvax elite warriors," Jiho said, looking at his tablet. "Some stories claim you killed them with your bare hands." Tai-il sipped his soup. "Exaggerations are useful sometimes. Should I try to stop these rumors?" "No," Tai-il said. "Let them spread. But make sure our official statements always mention peace and cooperation." Jiho smiled slightly. "I understand. Speak softly, but let them know about the big stick." Later that day, Tai-il was approached by Ban, the representative of the Crux, a species with strong telepathic abilities. Ban was tall and thin with pale blue skin and large, completely black eyes. "Ambassador Kang," Ban said, "may we speak privately?" They walked to a quiet area in the station's garden section. Plants from dozens of worlds grew there, creating a peaceful setting. "I must apologize," Ban said when they were alone. "During yesterday's council meeting, I attempted to read your mind. Tae-il's expression didn't change. I see. It is not something we normally do without permission, Ban continued quickly. But there were rumors about you and I was curious. And what did you find? Tae-il asked, his voice still calm. Ban looked uncomfortable. Your mind is unlike any I have encountered. It is ordered and disciplined, like a well-maintained machine. And it contained knowledge that disturbed me. Knowledge? Ways to kill, Ban said quietly. More methods of ending life than I knew existed, for every species in the council. Tae-il looked at a red flower near his hand. The Crux believe in peace above all else, I'm told. Yes, Ban agreed. Which is why I find you fascinating, Ambassador Kang. Your mind holds all this deadly knowledge, yet you choose diplomacy. Humans believe peace is worth protecting, Tae-il said. Sometimes that requires understanding war. Ban studied him. I told no one what I saw in your mind, but I wanted you to know that I know. Tae-il nodded. Thank you for your honesty. Next. Time. Please ask before entering my thoughts. The experience might be unpleasant for you. Ban shivered slightly at the gentle warning. 1 week after the incident with the Marvax warriors, Earth's request for technology sharing came before the council again. Tae-il made the same speech as before, his voice and manner still humble and polite. When the vote came, the Marvax surprised everyone by abstaining rather than voting against Earth. With their influence removed, the motion passed. As council members filed out of the chamber, High Commander Vox stepped into Tae-il's path. This is not over, human, he growled quietly. Tae-il looked up at the much larger alien. I hope it is, Commander, for everyone's sake. Something in his tone made Vox step back slightly. That evening, General Kim called for an update. The technology sharing agreement passed, Tae-il reported. We will begin receiving data next week. Excellent work, Colonel, the general said. And the Marvax? They're reassessing their position on humans. The ambassador now speaks to me with respect. The High Commander is still hostile but more cautious. General Kim nodded. Phase 1 is progressing well then. Has anyone discovered your true identity? They suspect I'm more than a diplomat, Tae-il said. But they don't know the extent of it. Keep it that way for now, the general ordered. Earth needs time to absorb their technology before they realize our full capabilities. After the call ended, Tae-il stood at his window again, looking at the stars. For centuries, humans had looked up at the night sky and dreamed of what might be out there. Now they knew. A vast council of advanced species who had initially seen humans as primitive and weak. That perception was beginning to change. On his desk was a message from the human military base on Mars. More diplomats like him were being prepared. Earth was taking no chances with its future in the galaxy. Tae-il straightened his tie and prepared for dinner. There was a reception that evening for all council members. For the first time, the human section had been given a prominent place in the seating arrangement. Sir, Jiho said from the doorway, the rumors are getting more specific. They're calling you Death in a Suit now. Tae-il nodded. That name followed me from Earth. It seems some things are universal. Should I be concerned? Jiho asked. No, Tae-il replied. Fear can be useful in diplomacy as long as it's balanced with respect. As they walked to the reception, Tae-il noticed a group of younger aliens watching him with wide eyes. They whispered among themselves as he passed. The name Death was spreading through the station, translated into a dozen alien languages. It was just one human for now, but soon there would be more, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months had passed since the incident with the Marvax warriors. Earth's position in the Galactic Council had improved. Technology sharing was going well, and 2 other human diplomats had joined Tae-il on the station. On this day, the full council was meeting to discuss a new trade agreement. Tae-il sat at the human section with Jiho beside him, taking notes. The next item is the trade route through Sector 87, said Elda, the head of the council. Earth has requested access. Before anyone could speak, the chamber doors sealed shut. With a loud hiss, red warning lights began to flash. "What is happening?" Elda demanded, looking around. A new voice spoke over the room's speakers. "This is Captain Lepp of the Quill Defense Force. The Council is now under our control." The Quill were one of the most advanced races in the galaxy. Their representative, a small gray alien with a large head, looked as surprised as everyone else. "Captain, Lepp does not speak for the Quill government?" The representative protested. "We speak for the future of the galaxy," Captain Lepp's voice replied. "Some species are advancing too quickly. The balance of power must be maintained." A hissing sound filled the room as a pale green gas began pouring from the air vents. Council. Members started coughing and falling to the floor. "Paralyzing gas," Jiho whispered to Tail. "It affects all known species in the database. All known species except humans with certain modifications." Tail felt his cybernetic systems activating automatically. His lungs sealed themselves off, and he began breathing from an internal oxygen supply. His blood was already filtering out. The small amount of gas he had inhaled. Around him, council members were collapsing. Even Jiho fell to the floor, his eyes wide with fear. Tail leaned down to his assistant. "Can you move?" he asked quietly. "No," Jiho whispered back. "But I can see and hear." "Good. Stay down and watch." Tail stood up slowly, looking around the room. Every council member was on the floor, paralyzed but conscious. Only he remained standing. The chamber doors opened, and 10 Quill soldiers entered. They wore full body armor and carried advanced energy rifles. When they saw Tail still on his feet, they raised their weapons. "The human is immune," one soldier reported into his communicator. "How is that possible?" "Kill him," came the reply. "He is proof they are developing too quickly." Tail looked at the armed soldiers. He straightened his tie, a gesture that Jiho now recognized as Tail preparing for combat. "I did warn you all," Tail said softly to the paralyzed council members around him. Humanity tried diplomacy. The first Quill soldier fired his weapon. The energy blast should have hit Tail in the chest, but he was no longer there. He had moved with impossible speed, diving behind the large council table. The soldiers spread out, trying to surround him. One moved too close to the table's edge. A hand shot out, grabbed the soldier's ankle, and pulled. The Quill disappeared under the table with a short cry. When he reappeared on the other side, he was unconscious, and Tail was holding his rifle. What followed was unlike anything the council had ever seen. The human diplomat moved with precision and deadly grace. He fired the rifle once, hitting a soldier in the leg. As that soldier fell, Tail was already moving toward the next one. He did not try to kill them all. Instead, he disabled them one by one. A strike to the neck here, a shot to the weapon arm there. Each move was calculated and efficient. No energy was wasted. The paralyzed council members could only watch as their quiet human diplomat transformed into something terrifying, a perfect fighting machine. 4 soldiers tried to rush him at once. Tail dropped to the floor, swept the legs out from under 2 of them, then rolled away from the other's fire. He came up behind a pillar, then stepped out and fired twice, hitting both remaining soldiers in non-lethal areas. "He's not human," one of the wounded Quill shouted into his communicator. "Death in a suit," Ban the Crux telepath thought, unable to speak but still able to project his thoughts. Several other telepathic species picked up the thought and spread it. In less than 2 minutes, 9 of the 10 soldiers were down. The last one backed toward the door, still firing his weapon. Tail walked calmly toward him, dodging each blast with minimal movement. The soldier's back hit the wall. His weapon clicked empty. "What are you?" he gasped as Tail reached him. "I am a diplomat," Tail said simply. Then he struck once, and the last soldier fell unconscious. The room was silent, except for the sound of Tail's footsteps as he walked to the control panel near the door. He studied it for a moment, then pressed several buttons. The hissing stopped, and fresh air began flowing into the room. "The paralyzing gas will wear off in approximately 10 minutes. he announced to the council members. Help is on the way. He sat down at his desk and opened a secure channel to Earth. General Kim's face appeared immediately. Colonel, our sensors show an incident at the council station. Report. A group of Quill extremists attempted to take control of the council, Tae-il said calmly. They have been neutralized. No casualties on our side. The general's eyes widened slightly. You acted openly? There was no choice. They used a paralyzing gas that affected everyone except me. The council saw everything? Yes. They were paralyzed. But conscious. General Kim was quiet for a moment. This changes our timeline. Phase 2 will need to begin immediately. I understand, Tae-il said. By the time station security forces broke through the sealed doors, Tae-il was sitting calmly at his desk, looking as if nothing unusual had happened. The 10 Quill soldiers were neatly arranged against one wall, unconscious, but alive. The paralyzing gas had mostly worn off. Council members were beginning to move again, looking at Tae-il with new eyes. Elda, still shaky on her feet, approached him. Ambassador Kang, you have our deepest thanks. You saved the council today. Tae-il bowed slightly. I did what was necessary. What you did was impossible, High Commander Vox said, his voice for once lacking its usual hostility. No normal being could fight like that. Humans are full of surprises, Tae-il replied. 1 week later, the council held a special meeting. Earth was granted full membership status with all rights and privileges. Several species proposed military alliances with humans. The Marvac, surprisingly, were the strongest supporters. We recognize strength when we see it, Ambassador Rock announced. After the meeting, the new Quill representative approached Tae-il. The previous one had resigned in shame after the attack. We underestimated your species, Ambassador, she said. It will not happen again. Tae-il smiled slightly. I'm glad we understand each other. Now shall we discuss that trade agreement? Back in his quarters that night, Tae-il removed his jacket, revealing a body covered in scars and metal implants. He opened a secure channel to Earth. Phase 1 complete, he reported to General Kim. The Council now respects humanity. Excellent work, Death, the General said, using his old codename. Phase 2 has already begun. 3 more like you will arrive next month, and we've started adapting the technology they've shared with us. Tae-il nodded. How soon until the fleet is ready? 6 months. Maybe less now that we have full access to their databases. They will be surprised by how quickly we learn, Tae-il said. General Kim smiled. They attacked a diplomat. They got a soldier. Next time, they'll face an army. Tae-il looked out at the stars, thinking of Earth and the future that was coming. And after that, he said quietly, they'll meet our fleet.